U.S. lawmakers are raising concerns that certain types of smartphones could be spying on you.
The Chinese manufacturers are accused of using the phones for espionage.
Your smartphone recorded you 17 times today, and none of those recordings were phone calls. That notification you ignored this morning? It wasn't random. There's a reason tech insiders are calling 2026 the year of silent surveillance. And what they're not telling you is far worse than listening. Your phone knows more about you than your spouse does, and that's not a joke. It knows where you sleep, what you search at 2 a.m., and which apps you open when you're bored. But here's what most people don't realize. Some phones are designed to share all of that with governments you've never voted for. Let's start with Xiaomi. You've probably seen their phones at Walmart. Great prices. Solid cameras. Your grandkids might even recommend them because they're just as good as Samsung for half the cost. Well, there's a reason they're cheap. Back in 2021, Lithuania's government told its citizens to literally throw their Xiaomi phones in the trash. Not return them, not recycle them, throw them away. Why? Because security researchers found built-in censorship tools that could be switched on remotely. We're talking about hidden files that block phrases like Free Tibet or Democracy Movement. Now here's the creepy part. Those tools are dormant in Western markets. Dormant, not deleted, just waiting. But it gets worse. Even when you use Xiaomi's private browsing mode, you know, the one with the little mask icon that makes you feel like a secret agent, the phone still sends your browsing history, search queries, and app usage straight to servers in China. Private mode, my foot. Their operating system, MIUI, requests 91 different permissions during setup. Stock Android asks for less than half that. What does a budget phone need with 91 permissions? I struggle to think of 91 things I want my phone to do in the first place. Yet Xiaomi holds roughly 14% of the global smartphone market, third largest in the world. Millions of seniors buy them because they're affordable, and affordability matters on a fixed income. I get it. But Xiaomi isn't even the phone that got banned by the United States government. Now here's where things get serious. Huawei isn't just some company with privacy issues. The United States government straight up banned them. In 2019, American intelligence agencies put Huawei on a trade blacklist. Why? They found potential backdoors in the hardware that could let the Chinese government intercept your calls, texts, and data. Not might, could. That's government speak for, we caught something. The company's founder? A guy named Ren Zhengfei, former engineer for China's People's Liberation Army. Now, look, maybe that's just his resume. But if your doctor used to work for a cigarette company, you'd probably ask a few questions too. And the weird part is, they kept getting caught. British intelligence tore apart Huawei's equipment and called their engineering sloppy and careless. That's the polite British way of saying this is either incompetent or intentional. Dutch and Australian networks discovered Huawei accessing phone data through hidden maintenance ports. Nobody asked them to. They just did it. American carriers can't sell these phones anymore. That's the good news. The bad news? Millions of older Huawei devices are still floating around. People bought them before the ban and never stopped using them. Your phone doesn't know it's been blacklisted. Here's what really gets me, though. You can still buy Huawei phones right now. Amazon, eBay, third-party sellers marketing them as affordable smartphones for seniors. They're technically not breaking any laws because they're selling used or imported devices. So, we've got phones banned by the government being sold to people who trust online reviews more than intelligence agencies. That's not a joke. That's Tuesday on the internet. But wait, you might be thinking Samsung is safe because it's Korean, right? American stores sell them everywhere. Your grandkids probably have one. Well, trusted doesn't mean trustworthy. Samsung, the name you trust. The brand your family's used for decades. TVs, refrigerators, washing machines. They make everything, right? But here's what they're not advertising. Those default apps that come pre-installed on every Samsung phone, they're watching you. Location data, contacts, browsing habits. All of it gets packaged up and shipped to third-party advertising networks. And here's the kicker. This happens even when you specifically decline personalized ads. You said no. They heard maybe. A 2023 study tracked exactly how chatty Samsung phones really are. The answer? About 260 data transmissions per hour during normal use. That's more than 4 times per minute. Your phone's gossiping about you more than my neighbor Gladys. And believe me, that woman could talk. Then there's Bixby, Samsung's voice assistant that nobody asked for, but everybody got. Researchers documented Bixby recording audio snippets without anyone saying the wake word. Just listening. Storing those recordings on servers in South Korea. Oh, and that Facebook app that came with your phone? Try deleting it. Go ahead. You can't. The best you can do is disable it, which sounds like you've won. But background processes keep running anyway. It's like telling a house guest to leave and they just move to your basement. Samsung's SmartThings app might be the boldest one, though. It demands access to your microphone, camera, contacts, and precise location. Even if you never connect a single smart home device. Why does an app for controlling light bulbs need to know who's in your contact list? And 2024 brought another surprise. Samsung admitted their AI features scan your photos locally to improve services. Locally sounds safe until you realize updates could theoretically upload that data anytime. The phone you trusted because it wasn't Chinese? It's still spying. But Samsung's got nothing on Google Pixel. Now, here's where things get ironic. Google Pixel phones are actually the most secure Android devices you can buy. They get security updates faster than anyone else. Hackers hate them. But here's the catch. Google isn't protecting you from Google. See, with a Samsung or OnePlus, there's a middleman. The phone maker collects some data, Google collects some data, and they fight over the scraps. With a Pixel, every single piece of information flows directly to the mothership. No middleman, no sharing, just pure, unfiltered data harvesting straight from your pocket to Mountain View, California. Every search you make, every route you drive, every YouTube video you watch at 2 a.m. when you can't sleep, every voice command you mumble, it all becomes part of your permanent advertising profile. And I do mean permanent. Google stores this stuff indefinitely, unless you manually delete it, which nobody does. But wait, it gets better. Remember when Google promised you could turn off location tracking? 40 states sued them over that little fib. Turns out, even after you explicitly disabled location history, they kept tracking you anyway. That lie cost them $391 million in settlements. They paid it like a parking ticket and moved on. Their newer Pixel phones now have something called audio emoji features. Sounds cute, right? Your phone listens for laughter, dog barks, baby cries, and other sounds in your environment. Always listening, always analyzing, always on. Google also keeps a detailed timeline of everywhere you've been. For years. Searchable by date. Want to know where you had lunch on March 15, 2022? Google remembers, even if you don't. It's like hiring a security guard who's also taking notes on everything you do and selling them to advertisers. And speaking of selling things, Apple has some explaining to do. Apple, the company that made privacy its entire personality. You've seen the billboards. What happens on your iPhone stays on your iPhone. Brilliant marketing. And honestly, partially true. But here's what those billboards don't mention. Apple still collects your Siri recordings, your App Store searches, your location data. They're just quieter about it than Google. In 2021, a security researcher discovered something awkward. iPhone analytics data, the stuff Apple promised was anonymous, actually contained a permanent identifier, meaning Apple could track individual users even while claiming they couldn't. Whoops! Then there's iCloud Photos. Every image you upload gets scanned by Apple's automated systems. They say it's to detect illegal content. Fair enough, but your personal photos are still passing through their computers. Your grandkid's birthday party, your vacation pictures, all analyzed. Now here's where it gets really interesting. Apple makes billions every year from Google. Billions. How? By keeping Google as the default search engine on every iPhone. So while Apple lectures everyone about privacy, they're literally selling your searches to their biggest privacy competitor. It's like a health food store owner sneaking Big Macs in the back room. To be fair, and I have to be fair here, Apple's app tracking transparency feature genuinely hurt Facebook's advertising business. Third-party tracking dropped by 75%. That's real. But guess who's exempt from Apple's own tracking rules? Apple. Their News app tracks you. Their Stocks app tracks you. The App Store itself tracks you. Rules for thee, but not for me. Look, is Apple better than most? Probably. Are they the privacy saints they pretend to be? Not even close. But wait until you hear about OnePlus. Because this phone company got caught doing something so bold, they actually tried to call it a feature. OnePlus built its reputation on being the smart choice. The phone for people who know technology. The underground alternative to overpriced flagships. Turns out the smart crowd got played too. In 2017, security researchers discovered OnePlus phones were collecting phone numbers, MAC addresses, and IMEI numbers. That's basically your device's fingerprint, social security number, and home address all rolled into one. And where did this data go? Servers in China. Without asking, without telling, without permission. But here's what really got people angry. Oxygen OS, their custom operating system, tracked everything. When you woke up and unlocked your phone, which apps you opened first, how long you spent on each one. It knew your morning routine better than your spouse does. When researchers confronted OnePlus about this, the company called it a feature. Not a bug, not a mistake. A feature designed to improve service. That's like a peeping Tom calling himself a neighborhood watch volunteer. They only stopped after the internet exploded. Now let's talk about the family tree. OnePlus is owned by BBK Electronics. Never heard of them? You've definitely heard of their other children. Oppo, Vivo, Realme. One Chinese conglomerate controlling multiple phone brands means your data potentially flows into the same ocean, regardless of which logo sits on your device. The numbers are staggering. One researcher documented a single OnePlus phone making 16,000 data transmissions in just 10 hours. Normal use. Nothing special. Just existing with the phone in your pocket. Here's the generational twist nobody talks about. OnePlus markets to tech-savvy 20-somethings who want flagship specs without flagship prices. Then, what happens? Those phones become hand-me-downs. Mom gets Junior's old OnePlus. Grandpa inherits it next. Neither understands what they're carrying. Speaking of things your phone does behind your back, there's actually a settings menu that changes everything. All right, here's the good news. You don't need to throw your phone in the garbage. You just need 15 minutes and a little patience. First up, turning off personalized ads in your settings cuts tracking by about 40%. Now, companies still collect your data. They just stop using it to target you specifically. It's like telling telemarketers they can keep your number, but please stop calling during dinner. Next, revoke microphone access from Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Remember when everyone said these apps listen to your conversations? Turns out that rumor had some truth to it. One tap fixes that. Both iPhones and Androids now have something called App Privacy Reports. This little gem shows you exactly which apps accessed your camera, microphone, and location over the past week. Check it monthly. You'll be shocked. I found out my weather app was checking my location 200 times a day. It's the weather, not a private investigator. Here's one that helps your battery too. Disable Background App Refresh. This stops apps from sending data when you're not using them. Bonus? Your phone lasts 15 to 20% longer between charges. My wife thought I bought her a new battery. Nope. Just changed one setting. The biggest change, though? Switch your default search engine from Google to DuckDuckGo. Google searches are the single largest source of personal data collection for most people. DuckDuckGo works just as well. It just doesn't remember everything you've ever wondered about at 2 in the morning. Finally, reset your advertising ID quarterly. This erases your profile and forces trackers to start fresh. Think of it like shredding your junk mail before the marketers can read it. 15 minutes, 6 changes. Dramatically less spying. But here's the thing. Settings only protect you so far. What if you want real privacy? The kind that actually works. Now for the good news. You can actually fight back. And you don't need to be a tech genius to do it. First up, get yourself a VPN. That stands for Virtual Private Network. It scrambles your internet traffic so your phone company and hackers can't see what websites you're visiting. Think of it like sending your mail in a locked box instead of a postcard. NordVPN and ExpressVPN both make apps that even my 72-year-old neighbor figured out. Took her about 10 minutes. Then there's the $20 solution nobody talks about. A Faraday bag. It's a little pouch that blocks all signals to your phone. Completely. When you're having a private conversation with your doctor or your lawyer, drop the phone in the bag. Nothing gets in or out. It's like putting your phone in a tiny bunker. Here's one I personally use, Signal. It's a free messaging app with military-grade encryption. The FBI has literally complained in congressional hearings that they cannot crack Signal messages. When law enforcement is frustrated, you know the encryption works. And this one costs $5. A sliding webcam cover for your front camera. Hackers have activated phone cameras remotely. It's documented. A little plastic slider fixes that forever. Some folks go further. They buy a basic flip phone just for phone calls. Your private conversations never touch a smartphone's compromised system that way. Old school? Sure. But old school works. But the most powerful protection? Free. Just leave your smartphone in another room during private moments. No technology on Earth can spy on a phone that's sitting in your kitchen while you're talking in the bedroom. These aren't paranoid precautions. They're common sense in 2026. Your phone isn't going to protect itself. The companies that made it certainly won't protect you. So you've got to protect yourself. And now you know how.